I'm Miao. I'm a fashion and jewelry designer and an aspiring toy artist living in Singapore. I didn't grow up with a lot of toys. Most of my childhood was spent watching other kids unwrap their presents at birthday parties, browsing toy aisles that I couldn't buy from, and trailing behind my family at malls with hands in my pockets. Now, years later, with adult money and an inner child who's still a little tender, I've started collecting. This video is part tour, part soft girlhood history, and part cultural reflection. I'll talk about how these tiny things became my way of holding on to joy, to fashion, and to memory. I'll also be showing you my Japanese trinket collection, Sylvanian families, Blythe dolls, Chikawa, love and berry cards, and diving into why we collect, especially in Singapore, especially as women. So stay tuned till the end. Girlhood has always been material. And I don't mean that in the consumer sense. I mean that girlhood has always found its expression through things. Tiny things, shiny things, things you could trade, collect, line up on your desk like trophies from a world you built yourself. Globally, we had sticker albums, Polly Pockets, and Lisa Frank. Girlhood is full of details. What we doodled on our school files, the keychains on our pencil cases, and that one fruit-scented gel pen that was sacred. For me, growing up in the early 2000s in Singapore meant precious thought stores filled with ceramic knickknacks and pastel angels, spending hours in the Kinokuniya bookstore's stationery aisle, admiring bento-shaped erasers, cute journals, and sparkly sticker sheets. I'll linger there forever, running my fingers through things that I couldn't buy, but still somehow collected in memory. We didn't have Claire's or Target here, but we had these little wonderlands and Heartland stationery shops that carried Winx Club comics. Girlhood lived in those aisles. And yes, some of it was a little gaudy, but that was the beauty of it. It was unapologetically feminine. And for a long time, that wasn't something we were taught to value. I also vividly remember queuing with my mom for the McDonald's Hello Kitty plushies in traditional Chinese wedding costumes. She doesn't collect things now, but I still keep that memory with me. So, if you're not Singaporean, here's a little context. In the year 2000, Singapore went absolutely feral for McDonald's Hello Kitty plushies. Queues wrapped around the block. There were reports of fights breaking out. The plushies were released in traditional Chinese wedding outfits, and it wasn't just kids collecting them. Adults were obsessed. Looking back, I think it was one of my first memories of big cultural moments around collectibles. And I saw it through my mom. It was the first time I saw an adult line up for something cute, not because it was useful, but because it sparked joy. It taught me that there's power in wanting something, just because. Singapore is fast, efficient, polished, and sometimes a little obsessed with productivity. From a young age, we're taught to chase grades, chase prestige, chase more. It's part of how the country rose so quickly. And Singapore's only 60 years old. But there's a side effect, a generation that doesn't know how to rest. In 2023, Singapore was ranked the third most burnt out city in the world. That statistic doesn't shock me. It's easy to get caught up in being efficient. Everything moves quickly. School, work, even leisure is planned down to the minute. But collecting trinkets? It's slow. It's inefficient. It's the opposite of KPIs, and I think that's exactly why it's powerful. Because in a system that doesn't always reward softness, building a shelf full of pastel animals and tiny keychains feels radical. And yes, maybe that sounds dramatic, but think about it. When women are told that growing up means giving up, isn't it a little revolutionary to say, no, actually, I'm keeping my cute things. My trinkets are my altar to softness, to memory, to the girl I was, and to the woman I'm becoming. So when I collect trinkets now, I see it as a kind of soft rebellion. They don't serve a function, but they soothe me. They remind me I'm human. I'm allowed to have things that make no sense on a spreadsheet. There are studies that show collecting helps us build identity, create continuity, and soothe anxiety. It's not just a consumer's compulsion, it's emotional patterning. In a hyper digital world, collecting tangible, beautiful things helps us stay grounded. Every trinket tells a story: where we were when we got it, what it meant to us, and who we were becoming. Yes, I know it involves money, but unlike trend cycles or fast fashion, collecting is slow. It's intentional, it's curatorial. These aren't products, they're treasures. I think there's something sacred about giving your younger self what she didn't have. In Singapore, most of us grew up being told to be practical. Don't waste money, don't be childish. And to be honest, I get it. Many of our parents grew up with less, with scarcity, but maybe that's why now I find so much joy in allowing myself to be impractical, to collect just for fun, to want something not because it's useful, but because it sparks joy. When I buy a plushie now, it's not just about the object. It's about rewriting the narrative. That joy is valid, that my softness isn't a weakness. These things aren't about regression, it's about remembering. And I think for a lot of us women, especially in Singapore's fast-paced, status-driven environment, collecting becomes a form of resistance, a way of saying, I deserve whimsy too. So, here I am now with my home full of characters that I used to only daydream about. First up is Love and Berry. If you know, you know. The Love and Berry card machine was basically the holy grail of girly fashion dreams. I would remember heading to Time Zone after school, an arcade here in Singapore, just to scan my fashion cards. You could mix and match hairstyles, clothes, shoes, and there were even magic power-up cards. And I could see it all come to life on screen. It wasn't just a game to me, it was my first fashion school. And I'm pretty sad about those machines being discontinued now. But we move on. Love and Berry was first released in Japan in 2004 by Sega, but it traveled to Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Italy. It was huge. A whole generation of us learned how to layer outfits, coordinate colors, and feel cute. And this is especially important in Singapore's context because as children, we typically were required to wear uniforms to school up till the age of around 16. So that was my first dive into self-expression. Now, when I flip through my cards, it's not just nostalgia, it's a reminder that my interest in styling, in fashion, in beauty, it's always been there, just in cardboard form. I remember something. Last year, I went to Japan and by some magical luck, while on a train ride, I saw a little banner that had Love and Berry on it. Apparently, it was Love and Berry's 20th anniversary, and although the card machines in arcades were discontinued, there was an exhibition showcasing the world of Lovenberry, their bedrooms, the costumes blown up to life size, and so I went and I got lots of collectibles. Little me was so happy. Next up, Sylvanian families. Sylvanians were always on display in department stores when I was a kid, but they were expensive. Definitely not something that I was allowed to just buy. Back then, I'll walk into Kitty Palace or Toys R Us and beeline for the Sylvanian families display. They were always behind glass. The packaging was so cute and the characters delicate and precious. But they felt expensive, untouchable, like they belonged to someone else's life, someone with a playroom. I never owned a set as a child, and maybe that's why I collect them now. It feels like giving the little girl inside of me something that she never dared to ask for. Now that I have a few of my own, I realize how detailed they are, and I love the little costumes that they come in. There's also a whole community on TikTok, Reddit, and in Facebook groups, and I live for it. Next up, we've got Blythe dolls. Blythe dolls were released in 1972 in the US, but flopped. Their big heads and blinking eyes freaked people out. Then in 2001, a Japanese company revived them and they became a phenomenon. Today, they're collected, customized, styled like tiny fashion muses. There are even exhibitions and zines dedicated to Blythe styling. There's a quote that I love. Blythe collecting is a form of self-expression that lets girls design a version of themselves free from judgment. When I dress my dolls, I feel that it's not about perfection, it's about play. Blythe dolls weren't huge in Singapore, but once I discovered them online, I fell deep into the rabbit hole. They're fashionable, eerie, and dramatic. Kind of like how I feel inside when I wear a loud outfit in a humid MRT carriage. Styling them feels like therapy. I get to express aesthetics I couldn't always afford in real life. They let me play without apology. Next up, Chikawa. Chikawa is a Japanese manga and anime that follows these tiny creatures who are kind of constantly suffering. They get attacked by bugs, their jobs are unstable, and they cry a lot. But they also make pancakes, sing songs, hang out with their friends. And there's so much heart in the show, but also this creeping sense of anxiety. I think they're just the weirdest little guys. In Singapore, you could often find them at Don Don Donki or sometimes tucked in a corner of Kinokuniya. I feel like Chikawa is what we all secretly are beneath the surface. Fragile, a little absurd, but still trying. Their world feels like emotional chaos, but also oddly hopeful. My collection is mostly area-specific, areas that I've explored in Japan, such as this one that I've got from Nara, where you could find deers bowing to you for senbei. I love them. Ah, yes, Pop Mart. In the last few years, we've seen a rise in adult collectibles, blind boxes, Sunny Angels, and Labubus. Even though I don't collect them myself, I think the phenomenon is important. It shows how our generation is craving play. In a world full of work and deadlines, these little figures give us a dose of delight. And maybe that's the point. It's not about the figure, it's about what it represents. So that's it for my little collection, from Sylvanians to Lovenberry to little knickknacks. I still hoard them in my drawers. I found a sense of comfort in these tiny things. It's also why I've started my own brand, Meow Atelier. I make whimsical collectible jewelry that kind of feel like the grown-up version of the trinkets that I loved. They're kind of like handmade treasures that feel like spells, things you could wear and whisper to. Some people invest in stocks, I invest in joy. And if you're a collector too, tell me what you collect and why. Maybe you've been hunting for Happy Meal toys. Maybe you hoard washi tape. Or maybe you just like the smell of paper and new notebooks. I think that matters. I think it all matters. Joy matters. I think softness is strength. And I'm so glad that we are building a world where cute things are allowed to mean everything. And that's it. Thank you for spending time with me in my cozy, cluttered world. And if you're here till the end, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on my next video. Bye bye. Bye bye.